Imagine being one of the most talented footballers the world has ever seen. Imagine dazzling defenders with skills that looked impossible, scoring goals that left millions speechless, and becoming the face of Brazilian football before your 20th birthday. Now imagine doing all of that, and still never winning the Ballon d'Or. That's the story of Neymar Jr., a player many believed would become the best footballer on the planet. A player who had all the talent in the world, but somehow never lifted football's most prestigious individual award. When Neymar burst onto the scene in Brazil, he looked like football's future. Playing for Santos, the same club that produced Pelé, Neymar quickly became a sensation. Every week social media was filled with clips of his outrageous dribbles, impossible goals, and fearless style of play. Defenders couldn't stop him. Fans couldn't stop talking about him. Scouts from Europe's biggest clubs lined up to watch him. By the age of 19, he was already one of the most exciting players in world football. The expectations were enormous. Brazil wasn't just looking at Neymar as another talented youngster. They saw him as the next football king. The country had produced legends like Pelé, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, and Kaká. Now everyone believed Neymar would be the next name on that list. Many even thought he could surpass them all. In 2013, Neymar made the move every young footballer dreams about. He signed for Barcelona. It felt like the perfect destination, the perfect stage, the perfect opportunity to conquer world football. But there was one problem. Barcelona already belonged to someone else. That someone was Lionel Messi. At Barcelona, Neymar became part of one of the greatest attacking trios football has ever seen. Alongside Messi and Luis Suarez, he formed the legendary MSN partnership. Defenders around Europe were terrified. The trio scored goals for fun. They destroyed some of the best teams in the world and helped Barcelona win multiple trophies, including the Champions League in 2015. Neymar was incredible during those years. In fact, many people forget just how dominant he was. He wasn't just a supporting player. He scored crucial goals in the Champions League knockout rounds and consistently delivered on the biggest stages. But no matter how brilliant Neymar played, the spotlight always returned to Messi. Every goal Neymar scored was compared to Messi's. Every trophy Neymar won was viewed through Messi's legacy. Every Ballon d'Or conversation ended with the same conclusion. Messi was still the king. And that was Neymar's biggest challenge. For years, football lived under the rule of two giants. Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo dominated the sport like no players before them. Between 2008 and 2023, they won nearly every Ballon d'Or. They scored impossible numbers of goals. They shattered records every season. They turned greatness into normality. Unfortunately for Neymar, he entered his prime during the exact same era. In most generations, Neymar would have been the best player in the world. But he wasn't competing against normal players. He was competing against two football monsters who were producing historic seasons year after year. By 2017, Neymar realized something. If he stayed at Barcelona, he might never escape Messi's shadow. He could win trophies. He could score goals. But becoming the world's best player would always be difficult while playing alongside the greatest player on earth. Then came one of the most shocking transfers in football history. Paris Saint-Germain paid a world record fee of $222 million to sign Neymar. The football world was stunned. It wasn't just a transfer. It was a statement. Neymar wasn't leaving Barcelona for money alone. He was leaving to build his own legacy. This was supposed to be the beginning of Neymar's Ballon d'Or journey. At PSG, he would become the main man, the star, the leader, the player everything revolved around. If he won the Champions League and dominated Europe, the Ballon d'Or would finally be within reach. And initially, things looked promising. Neymar was sensational. He scored goals. He created chances. He embarrassed defenders. Every time he stepped onto the pitch, he reminded people why many considered him the most naturally gifted footballer of his generation. But then came the biggest enemy of his career: injuries. Again and again, injuries arrived at the worst possible moments. Just when Neymar was building momentum, another injury would stop him. Just when the Champions League knockout stages approached, he would find himself watching from the sidelines. Football history often comes down to timing, and Neymar's timing was cruel. Several seasons that could have defined his legacy were interrupted by injuries. Every setback cost him valuable months. Every absence allowed other players to take the spotlight. Every recovery forced him to start over again. The most painful example came during the 2019-20 season. PSG reached the Champions League final for the first time in club history. Neymar played a crucial role in their journey. This was the moment he had dreamed about. Win the Champions League and the Ballon d'Or conversation would change forever. But PSG lost the final. One match. 90 minutes. That's all that stood between Neymar and perhaps the greatest individual achievement of his career. As the years passed, Another challenge emerged. Kylian Mbappé. The young French superstar quickly became football's newest sensation. Suddenly, Neymar wasn't the future anymore. He was sharing the spotlight again. The attention began shifting toward a younger player with endless potential. Then came another heartbreaking chapter. The World Cup. For Brazilian players, the World Cup means everything. It's bigger than club football, bigger than individual awards. It's the tournament where legends are made. Neymar entered multiple World Cups carrying the hopes of an entire nation. In 2014, a devastating injury ended his tournament before the semifinals. Brazil would go on to suffer the infamous 7-1 defeat against Germany. In 2018, Brazil were eliminated by Belgium. In 2022, Neymar came incredibly close. He scored a brilliant goal against Croatia in the quarterfinals and looked ready to carry Brazil forward. But football can be cruel. Croatia equalized late, won on penalties, and Brazil were eliminated once again. You could see the pain on Neymar's face. Another dream shattered. Another opportunity gone. And with every passing year, winning the Ballon d'Or became more difficult. Age catches everyone. The younger generation arrived. The football landscape changed. And the opportunities that once seemed endless became fewer and fewer. But here's the truth most people miss. Neymar didn't fail because he lacked talent. He didn't fail because he wasn't good enough. He didn't fail because he wasn't one of the greatest players of his generation. Neymar never won the Ballon d'Or because football isn't always fair. He spent his prime competing against Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo during the greatest rivalry the sport has ever seen. He suffered injuries at the worst possible moments. He experienced heartbreaking exits in tournaments that could have transformed his legacy. And sometimes, greatness alone isn't enough. Sometimes timing matters. Sometimes luck matters. Sometimes history places you in the wrong era. Today, Neymar remains one of football's most gifted players ever. His highlights still look unreal. His skills still inspire millions. His influence on the game can be seen in young players around the world. He may never have won the Ballon d'Or, but trophies don't tell the entire story. Because when future generations watch Neymar's magic, they'll remember something more important than an award. They'll remember a footballer who made the impossible look easy. And for many fans, that's worth more than any golden trophy.